Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to do a presentation on personal branding, but just a little bit of background about me. As I said, I'm Director of ECM Consulting. I've been preparing job applications for over 15 years. I was with a franchise for just nearly 15 years, and then at the beginning of financial year, so nearly 12 months ago, I went out on my own and needed to look at something a little bit different than just doing job application documents, and sort of after doing a bit of research, found that personal branding is so huge out there, not just as a job seeker, but as a business owner as well. So my point of difference, and this is what all personal branding is about, is trying to find your uniqueness, what sets you apart from, you know, the other website developer or the other photographer. So what's your genre as a photographer? You know, myself, there's a few other as we're called career development consultants. Yes, they're doing job applications, but my point of difference is trying to educate job seekers, but also business owners, you know, what sets them apart from, you know, what's their uniqueness. So, and the same with job seekers. You know, there's 200 plus applications. What sets you apart from those other 199? So we're going to go into a little bit more about what personal branding is. So what we're going to cover today is what is personal branding, how do you brand yourself, or so branding you, what's your story, building your brand, so your online reputation, but there's an offline reputation as well, increasing your brand awareness, personal branding tips for using social media, and some personal branding mistakes as well. So just give you a quick idea what personal branding is. It's just a quick video. And it starts. So there's a question to have a think about, what is your uniqueness? So what is personal branding? So as you saw with all those different quotes from different people, some of them you would have recognised, you know, it's all about you, what makes you. So personal branding is defining and consistently reinforcing who you are and what you stand for in life and career. So you need to know those things to be able to sell you. As I said before, what's your point of difference? What makes you different and unique? What would, sorry, some more things have changed. What would my employer or client say are my key strengths? What do you believe is my most noteworthy personal attributes and key strengths? What do I want to be known for? So, especially when you're applying for jobs, and that's where a lot of my background is, and what is to identify what is my plan for achieving my career life goals. So, I mean, if you're applying for a job, what sets you, as we said, what sets you apart from those other 200 applicants that are applying for the same job? It's knowing your uniqueness, it's knowing your achievements to be able to sell yourself. So part of one of my services that I provide, I do a personal branding strategy session. So it goes in to identify what some of your skills are, your strengths are, your values are, your uniqueness are, and then also part of that, and both as a job seeker and a business owner can do that personal branding strategy session. And then we also go into a gap analysis as well. So to identify some of those gaps, or what are some of those skills that I need to get that job that I want, or for that job promotion, or even in your own business, do I need to go and do some more training to be able to provide the services that I need to provide to my, my clients, my potential clients, or my existing clients? So is everyone in here in business, are they, or yeah? Okay, so we're going to talk about, and as I said, this is a very, quick session about, just to give you a quick background about it all. So part of your personal brand is your reputation, and today, because we're using the likes of Facebook or LinkedIn and that sort of thing, we're at online reputation. So we've got to be able to manage that, and if there's any damage control, like, someone, it might have been you, it might have been someone else, has said something negative about you, put an inappropriate photo on there about you, you've got to be able to learn how to manage that and, obviously delete it or eliminate it. So if someone's looking for you, they're not going to find the bad things about you. So this definitely applies if you're in, all of you are in business. Who is your target audience? Highlight your past achievements and quantify your results. So Google yourself. So one of the things, even as a job seeker, we should be they're saying we should Google ourselves at least once a month to minimum once a month through 3 months, once to 3 months, even as a job seeker. When you Google yourself, you've got to do it in quotation marks because it comes up with a more accurate result. So let's say your name's Tom Brown, which is a fairly common name, or John Smith, you might put in quotation marks John Smith Tom, because then it's going to narrow down those, as we were talking about, those good, because it's all SEO optimized and that sort of thing. So it comes with a more accurate result. One of the other things with doing a Google search, if you have a LinkedIn profile, and this is where personal branding is becoming so crucial, especially as a job seeker or even as a business owner, your LinkedIn profile will come in that top 3 searches of a Google search. So especially in, and this is what employers or recruiters are starting to do, they'll go and do a Google search, and I know even government departments are doing it, and councils, they'll go and do a Google search of you, and then the next part of it, they'll go and do a LinkedIn check your LinkedIn profile if it comes through on that Google search. So you need to see yourself as others do. Use a critical eye on how your personal brand is portrayed on all those social media, and even on your website. Already post that, put onto your website. So branding strengths, you need to, as we were talking about before, part of my personal branding strategy session is looking at what your branding strengths are right now and what needs to be improved. So through that gap analysis. As I said before, if something's been written negatively about you, I had a client of mine the other day saying that her husband's got a business and I've just asked her to put a review on Google because it brings your Google search, you Google my business, profile up, and they had a negative one on there, and she said it dropped our search, where we were placed on the search right down, sort of thing. So if something is written about you, how would an employer or a potential client interpret that? So as we're talking about here, so this Entello is, and this is coming more on the recruitment side, and I know you're all in your own businesses or whatever, but I mean, even if you're going to be employing people, this is the most powerful recruiting automation platform that there is, and it's been used in America, and it's been used by huge organisations like Target, Sony, TripAdvisor, PayPal, that sort of thing. And it's probably not something that's come here so much, though. I was talking to a client and she was with Radio Rentals, I think she was, and she said they had a similar sort of system they were using for recruiting staff. But you've got to think it's not just, it's all SEO optimised, and this is what they're looking at. So same with Google, it's SEO optimised, LinkedIn is SEO optimised. So it just gives you a bit of an idea how they're recruiting people and that sort of thing. And even if you're looking for, staff or people are looking for you, you've got to think similar things are in place. So, for example, this is how this Intello works. For example, there's a graphic designer. The Intello software scrapes all the thumbnails of her art from an online portfolio, which is on her website. So you've got to think if you're an artist or a graphic designer and you've got your own website and you put your portfolio on there, this Intello can gather all that information from the website. They can check out her employment history. They can conclude what sizes companies she prefers to work for and how frequently she likes to look at the change jobs. They can also work out her salary benchmark data to estimate her salary requirements and search for any other information that gives the full picture of that individual. So, there's those softwares that are doing that. Imagine people, if they're checking you out, they're going to be checking your websites and all that sort of thing as well.
So this is what Intello does, could be done manually, but it'll be a lot slower, whereas this just automates.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you how it works. So there's a quick video, that's where it's all from. So this Intello will give you a bit more information how it works.
Most companies have been recruiting the same way for decades, but with today's technology, it doesn't have to be that way. Introducing Intello. Intello's software mines the entire internet to bring you hundreds of millions of candidate profiles in one place. These social profiles give you a complete picture of the candidate's skills and professional history. Intello's predictive analytics save you even more time by identifying the candidates who are more likely to change jobs. You can also use Intello to track your email response rates and measure how effective your outreach is. In addition, research has shown that diversity in the workplace leads to higher performance and market share. Finally, for organizations that receive a high volume of applicants, Intello's technology can instantly narrow down your stack of resumes based on criteria that you control. Reach out to us today and join the world's leading companies who are using Intello to modernize their recruiting efforts.
Okay, so increasing brand awareness, which is important whether you're a job seeker or a business owner. So some tips how we can do that. Lead with value. So what do you bring of value to the table to either an employer or your potential clients? Be consistent with your branding. So that what they're saying is be consistent, that your profile does not look different across all your different platforms. So if you're using that one, you're consistent and it looks the same across all platforms. So whether you're using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, your website even, because you've got a bio on there as well. So it should be consistent across the same, and even with your photograph as well. It should be the same photograph because you're the brand of your business. So as we just said, do you look the same in your professional and social media photos as you do in real person? So some tips for your having great headshots. You should it should be shoulder upwards. You should be smiling, and your clothing should reflect your personal brand. So make sure there's no sunglasses, hats, t-shirts, or slogans with intricate patterns. And they're saying females shouldn't have plunging necklines or large dangling earrings. And there's so often you see on Facebook, there's a plunging neckline and that sort of thing of women. And I know they're attractive, but yeah, I mean, could be off-putting for some people. Here's
a uniform wear that.
Yeah, if you've got a uniform. I had a client the other day who was applying for general manager positions, and I did his LinkedIn profile, and he was wearing a Gunji t-shirt with his kids in the background, and I said, sorry, I've got to take this photo off because you're not portraying yourself. You know, you're a general manager going for general management positions, you know, fairly high roles, and I said, this is not selling you. You know, if people are going to be looking, you know, they're using these application tracking systems or doing a Google search, that's the first thing they're going to see of you. So this is just a bit of a fun photo. So these people are air shopping. So that, so don't do that. Be natural as possible, but still good. Okay, so here's some personal branding tips for using social media. So as I talked about before, LinkedIn is one of the most important social media and for having a great headshot. So you've got to think of LinkedIn, and as I talked about with, I've just given some examples with LinkedIn with regard to, you know, sorry, as a job seeker, but it's also important as a business owner as well, because you can use it as a networking tool. So it's good for two things. So as I said, you know, to expand your network, that online networking. So if you're going to a networking meeting and you go and meet some people in there, let's connect on LinkedIn, because it's that professional, that platform for where you Facebook. I know a lot of people, you know, smaller businesses are using that Facebook to, you know, promote their business and that sort of thing. But if you want more of that professional side of it, I would be definitely using LinkedIn. So with just a couple of statistics with LinkedIn, having a great headshot increases your view rate by 14 times, a complete profile in full, and again, as I said, we mentioned before, LinkedIn is SEO optimized, so it needs to have those keywords and key phrases in there. They're saying a complete profile is you've got to reach all-star, and you've got to have a minimum of 3 recommendations on there to get that all-star and be seen as completed. You need to tell your professional story on there, regularly share content about your industry. So you want to be seen as that industry expert within your industry. So it's not all about, it's not always about, you know, putting sell. It's about you know, showing you're the industry expert in your field. To increase your chances, this is for the job opportunity side, those complete profiles increase your receiving job opportunities by 40 times, and incomplete profiles will not appear in searches. So yeah, so all those keywords also influence your profile ranking as well. Facebook, use Facebook, again, that professional image to show off your personality, and remember to your profile picture can be seen by the public regardless of your security settings. Keep your work and educational information up to date, customise your privacy settings, and constantly audit your profile and posting to add to promote your personal brand. Just to give you a situation or example with Facebook, I was speaking to a HR manager just recently, and they had an employee, that was, I don't know the full story, but they were away because they were claiming benefits for their deceased family members. And one of the deceased family members, his wife, he had his Facebook page on private, but went out with his apparently deceased wife, who was on public, and went out to dinner. Guess what? It showed up. His wife having dinner with his wife that was apparently dead. But yeah, so see you later. You won't be getting any more benefits. So yeah, so you still, you know, you tag someone, even if you think they're private, it's going to come through on those feeds. So be wary. Other social media, and it's obviously up to you which ones you're comfortable with, and obviously, you know, a lot of feedback I've heard, you know, keep to 2 to 3, and that's the ones you focus on. Get too many, it gets all overwhelming. I know I get very overwhelmed by it all. So you, again, use your personal image, promote your personality and your professional headshot. Remember, with Twitter, you've got 160 characters, so be clear, concise and using of those keywords. With Twitter, you're not just pushing content, but you're trying to engage with people. Share your content on your industry tips and interests, and utilise to find relevant people and your content as well. So here's just some 9 personal branding mistakes. Don't be vague, stretching the truth. So don't lie about your experience, always highlight your transferable skills and your enthusiasm for learning new skills. Lack of consistency, as we talked about before, so make sure everything's consistent across all your social media profiles. Not keeping your profiles updated, so make sure that, you know, especially as a job seeker, if your education's out of date or your employment's out of date, they're saying with LinkedIn, a lot of people aren't keeping their LinkedIn up to date, and they'll only go and quickly update it because they're applying for a new job or whatever. So make sure that's always kept up to date. Doing it all online, again, you know, go to face-to-face and then go and use those face-to-face networks and connect with them online as well. Don't complain if this is complaining about your current position or, you know, clients or that sort of thing. You don't want to, you know, say you've had a bad day or that sort of thing. Speaking for the sake of being heard. So they're saying, and this comes into the next one as well, don't just talk about yourself. And I think I quickly just mentioned with, you know, when you're sharing posts and writing content, they're saying the rule for sharing tends to be 12 to 1. So every post that you make about yourself, the other 12 should relate to your industry. Or be industry specific and to you that interests your wider network. Include content that you've created yourself, repost from businesses and people you admire, and responses to breaking news in the industry, and not showing your originality or uniqueness. So your personal brand should highlight your value and uniqueness. You don't want to be unforgettable, so it needs to reflect your personality as well as your experience. Include your achievements, you know, some of your hobbies or interests. And Jen Shaw made a very good comment the other day when I was listening to her from Emerge. She was saying, you know, tell your story. People are interested in your story. And that's how she's got a great following, because she kept telling her story from her heart. You know, what was her story? You know, she had a rough background, and, you know, and she wanted to help these kids with, you know, this is why she set up this Emerge. So one thing she really iterated about her social media talk the other day, and she just concentrated on Facebook. And when she was doing those, they call them the funding sort of thing that you do, crowdfunding, that's the word. She just kept telling a story, and she said people want the stories. So something to, you know, think about when you're posting. You know, your why you're in business, you know, that's your story, and your uniqueness. So just a couple of things, as we said, personal branding is about managing your name. Even if you don't own a business, in a world of misinformation, disinformation, and semi-permanent Google records, if you're going on a date, chances are that your blind date has Googled your name. Going to an interview, ditto. I know I say to people, you know, if they're going for an interview, go and check out who's on LinkedIn, who's the chair of the panel for the, you know, the interviewer for, you know, when you're going to get interviewed, go and stalk them on LinkedIn and check them out, you know, then you get a bit of an idea of who they're about. So I know it was very quick, just to give you a quick summary of what personal branding is, but any questions? Yes. Thanks,
so I
Sarah.
have 2 rather separate businesses.
Yes.
And I'm constantly running into, I don't really use LinkedIn very much, but it's something that I'm looking to use more.
Yes.
And because like on Facebook, I've got a business page, so it's easy because it's like the content about that thing, and then the other content over there is about that thing. But on LinkedIn, it's me, and I am both, and I just do find that I go, well, I don't know how to be both. Like I am both, and in person it's pretty easy to explain. But when it's a, you know, you've got to have your title in the LinkedIn header or whatever.
Yes.
And the bio and stuff, I really struggle. Do you have any advice for when you do have two roles like that are not, like, yes, there are links, but it's really two totally separate target markets?
Yeah. So Ellen, if I to paraphrase it and clarify it, you were saying with LinkedIn, not sure how to work it, how to sell yourself through that. So I actually had a similar situation with a client the other day, and I suggested to them that they have two different LinkedIn profiles.
Really?
Because they're two separate businesses, and you're trying to
Well,
promote.
I have a business page on LinkedIn.
Yes.
For one of them, and I just never set it up for the other one yet, but I can. I'm not sure I want to do that because I actually want to present, like I want people to know that I do both.
Yeah.
I think integrate, but I kind of just get stuck in doing that.
Yeah. That's one of the services I provide, doing your LinkedIn profiles.
Yeah.
I think the other way you can do it is you could have, because I set up for a lady who is a family lawyer, so we did her LinkedIn profile and then we did her, so you've got to have person's profile first, so your personal profile, and then you can add in the business. So we added in the business, so then anyone that works for that business will then connect with her business. So whether you can, I'll have to have a look into it, but you could have your profile and then you could have your two businesses under that, and that would show up under your personal profile.
Yeah, so then people see the personal profile.
So you're not suggesting have two personal profiles.
So sorry, I was thinking it through. So you could have your personal profile and then have your two businesses under that. Because you can connect them.
Which is kind of like what I've done on Facebook.
Yes.
But of course on Facebook.
Oh, that's right. So you have your personal one.
I don't use it really as a business the way I know people do.
But people are checking you out. They'll go and see your business and they want to know who's the person behind that business.
But they can't see it. My privacy settings are locked down and I don't even share that stuff. Like, if you're my friend, you can see my cat.
But I mean, on your personal profile, you would have
linked
that's right, exactly. So I think you can do the same with LinkedIn as well.
Ellen online also says she shares the same problem as Ellen.
Yes.
But it's even getting more ingrained, the more I develop two separate as problems myself, like, because there are more rings around businesses that aren't related services, but in that industry, completely different to the other industry, but still part of my professional experience, but on a way that's degree. So if I put it at the top, it's going to look like, oh, if she's there, she's, and I'm like, weird, right? So I've just avoided it.
Is that LinkedIn, is it?
LinkedIn, I put it, but it's like knowing
well, if you need assistance, let us know, but that's what I do.
But I think that's a real conversation, because I have the same issue, because we have Camps Coworking, Startup Toowoomba, Oriole Jam, Coda Dojo. They're all related. They're all listed on my LinkedIn profile. I can write or post or share anything that kind of relates to anything like that on there, no problem. So I've got multiple businesses, but they're all in the same kind of sector.
Yes.
But then I have, you know, a travel tourism Formula One motor racing business. That is not anything related to that. It's not on there.
No.
It's just not on, I want it to be on there. Because I want to go that way. I'm not looking for work.
No.
Obviously. So from a LinkedIn perspective, I don't think it would matter if it was there because I'm not looking for a job. But if I was looking for a job in Formula One, it would have to be on there.
That's right.
But then everyone else that's in my other world would be going, what is that?
In that situation, you could do another LinkedIn profile because it's totally separate sort of thing, and it's not related, like, let's say, to canvassing, co-working. But you would have to set it up as, you know, for networking, especially somewhere like, you know, motor racing or whatever. It's all about those networks and everything. So you would be, and that's what LinkedIn should be used for as well. If you're not using it as a job searching tool, it's a networking tool. It's your online networking tool, basically. So as I said, you go to those, let's say, Chamber of Commerce, meet all those contacts or connections, and then go and connect with them online.
So how do you manage that on
better one. I know I've got another one as well.
Yeah, everything is there. And it's sort of yours.
Separate phone for each one.
Yeah. for each account, yes.
I've just got a very bad and we've had it recently. So one of my businesses is very visual. And
Yes.
it's very not like it's very conventional. It's sort of work. But currently I'm just kind of doing it with my life. Like, is that where you get the personality aspect? Or can you just like what's the risk if you just shut that down and be like, because there's a whole mental health sort of time drain associated with these things.
Yeah.
And I am sure that the other people speak to scrolling on to what other people are doing and not working on my own business, getting my message out there. Because the way it's set up is not to measure any output and to get actual sort of networking marketing from it, you've got to do a whole lot of work. So where do you cut your losses? Like, you know,
Good question.
so I just say, do you focus on one really well?
And that's what I was saying is, you know, if you're going to have a couple of different social media platforms, just concentrate on 2 or 3 and do them really well. You know, don't try and be everything to everybody sort of thing. Just concentrate, you know, maybe on the LinkedIn, Facebook, on the Instagram, or what are the platforms that you're interested in, you know, that you like, I suppose, like using. And if you've got a Twitter account and it's sitting there and it's not doing anything, don't use it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
Because we just get boggled down, and it's just, as I know, I get overwhelmed with it. I can't keep up. But
I think one of the solutions for Instagram is the fact that you can make your personal account fully private.
Yeah.
And you might not use it at all.
No.
But it's there. Like people can go, oh, you exist.
Yes.
That's private. Okay, fair enough. But your business Instagram page, if your customers are on Instagram, then having an active business page is fine. And just make your personal account private. Nobody needs to know that it's got no posts.
No.
It's not their business.
Yeah,
No.
I could do it, and I have seen this on Instagram, and I haven't got around to doing it myself yet. But you can actually just make it set up so you capture, you know, you get the tag, it's yours, then nobody else can take it, and you actually just make an image that is like a 9-tile image so that when people click on your, you make 9 tiles, but it's actually one big image that's split into 9. So when people click on your profile, you've got 9 things there, and all the descriptions even might say the same thing, like it's copy and paste, whatever, and it just never changes then. You've just done it, you set it up once. Yeah.
Yeah, my business is that. I honestly never go into that business account. You know,
Yeah.
my actual.
But it's influenced tag, they can, or if they find you researching it, they can click through your website because you've done it.
I think I probably just need to associate what's his business.
Yeah.
And then just back it. So
Yeah.
my personal one thing to my business side and
Yeah.
Facebook page, but then I can figure out. Because that gives a personal element then gives my videos. So I know about.
I think it helps as well, and this was sort of last week's session, we had a session on Instagram, but actually having a strategy for that page, like what is the purpose of the page and being quite clear about that.
Yeah.
And then are you posting in line with your strategy? And that way you can go, oh yeah, that's that page. It's scheduled as such or planned for the next 3 months. I don't have to think about it. So if I'm posting something random, is it about my life? Well, then that goes on my personal page.
Yeah.
And you don't have to kind of think about the other one every day because you've planned it ahead of time. And I think that from a mental health perspective, that job's done.
Yes.
Now this is just my life. You
Yeah.
know, what I want to share. And that
We'll
works
get the
across
work done.
all different platforms as well. Because you might even do the same on Facebook or Twitter or something. You can
Yeah.
pre-schedule.
Like your Instagram and your Facebook or whatever.
Yeah. I think the more businesses you acquire, the less personal you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't spread yourself too thin. So any other questions? So just to let you know, next Sunday, I'm running a Mums Returning to Work workshop. I've tried to make May all about mothers and that sort of thing. So we're going to talk about resume writing tips and how to build your personal brand. So it's a 3-hour workshop. So if you know any mums that are trying to get back into the workforce, spread the word around. So doing it $69, which includes morning tea and your course notes and everything. And we're holding it at the Loft bar, so which is quite cute. It's 249 Margaret Street. So it's sort of next, it's one of the doors that go upstairs sort of thing, just near the chemist. Chemist Warehouse, JB Hi-Fi down there. Yeah, actually, I think it's right next to where Mel's Kitchen used to be.
Okay.
And because it's owned by his family.
Shrewsbury photography and those guys, I think they're around there too.
Yeah, there's the newsagent downstairs as well. But Mel's Kitchen used to be right down. I think he owns the building. So yeah, so it's just upstairs.
So the Loft is a cafe.
No, a lady that owns it or leasing it is using it for photography. She's a photographer.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same. I think it might be a different one. I don't know what her photography business is called, but she's had a few people ask for workshop space as well. But people are using it to be able to do photography in there, because she's set it up nicely. You know, like whether it's a baby or, new baby, all that sort of stuff. So she's tried to make it quite. Yeah, so I'm holding that next weekend. So some of the services that I offer, the personal branding documents and everything from resumes, application letters, LinkedIn profile and other job application documents. The personal branding coaching and workshops, as I talked about before, I do a 1.5 personal branding strategy session, which goes about your strengths and your values, any gap analysis, and then I've got a 4-module program, which is my VIP program, and I will be getting into the mentoring and leadership coaching program. So if people are trying to gain more skills in leadership and that sort of thing.
Katie, just a question on, so talking to people about their strengths and things like that. Do you find that most people still struggle to recognise their own strengths?
Even when I'm doing resumes, and it's one of the first questions that I ask, I'll say, can you describe yourself? Ooh, what do I say? Yeah. Or what are my strengths, sort of thing.
So how do you work with them to get that out?
Yeah, I had one lady the other day, and she's been a bit of, marital problems and that sort of thing, and she just burst into tears when I asked that question, and I just sort of glided over it and just said, don't worry about it, let's talk about your work and that sort of thing. Because, people find it hard to talk about themselves or sell themselves. So I find a lot of time when I start talking about their work history, when I'm putting with getting their information for a resume, some of the stuff will come out anyway, because they might say, I'm very particular about doing that. Well, there you go, they're detail-oriented or attention to detail or that sort of thing. So, I've coordinated this, so obviously time management must be, they must be good at time management or event management or that sort of thing. So some of those attributes do come out as you start talking. And even if, that I might ask them about, what achievements that you've had in your career, I was instrumental in developing ABC program or whatever. They've got problem solving skills, they've got initiatives. So so as things start coming out as you start talking to them about it. So instead of trying to pressure them and say, what are your personal attributes you can bring to this position or whatever. So so it's trying to work with them. So yes, thank you.
Going back to LinkedIn,
Yes.
and the section on LinkedIn that's endorsements and those types of
Recommendations now, I think. And the skills endorsements.
skills
Yes.
and endorsements. So, do you ask people to endorse you? Like, if you do work with them,
Yes.
do you ask them?
So that's the recommendations. Yes, those endorsements don't seem to come up as much anymore. They used to, and because they used to pop up all the time every time you went onto someone's profile.
Yes,
Do you endorse them for
I
this?
have mine turned off.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it the other day, and if it's turned on and it pops up, that's one thing. But we usually don't have a problem asking someone, can you write a referral,
Yes.
like do a review, on Google or do a review on Facebook. But when it comes to LinkedIn, I think, because it is me, not my business,
Yes.
then it kind of feels a bit different. So do you have any tips on how to approach asking someone that you've done work with,
Yes.
that you probably, had a good experience and it's going to say nice things about you,
Yes.
to actually then endorse those skills for you, and then how much do other people actually take that as being valid as opposed to bullshit?
As I said, I haven't seen the skills endorsements pop up on Webber. I've turned mine off as well, but I haven't had any skills endorsements on there for ages. But I think you need to put the skills in. I don't put the skills. Yeah, that's right, exactly. So you need to utilise those 50 again to bring your profile up. So bring that viewing rate up. So you've got to need to utilise those 50 skills endorsements. So make the most of those. But I think from what I'm reading at the moment, those recommendations are more weight. Yeah. So you're going out, as I said before, you need to have a minimum of 3 to bring your profile up and be seen as completed, basically. I think the highest rate of star rating you can get is all-star. I don't think you can go any past that. And that brings your profile up. But you've got to have all-star, you've got to have at least a minimum of 3 recommendations. So I had a client the other day that I did a bit of work for last year when I first started business, and she was a fairly high role in government and was applying for another government role, and she was speaking to someone and she said, oh, this is this about me. And so I rang her and I said, would you mind doing, a recommendation on my LinkedIn and Google, because I haven't got anything on Google because I've only sort of started it up. But yeah, so I think they're probably more weight and gold to bring your viewing rate up.
Someone have all-star status on LinkedIn.
Yes.
But I don't have any, I think I've got recommendations too.
Yeah. I think all-star, but again, if you have those 3, that will bring your viewing rates up.
Right.
Yeah. Because again, it's all about this SEO optimization and everything. Yeah. So you could go to a colleague or a client or someone that works in here or that sort of thing.
So do recruiters look at that? Do you think they actually put merit on the skills?
Well, they'll be looking at what people are saying about you, because you can say certain things about yourself, can't you? You're going to say nice things about yourself, hopefully, or not say enough about yourself. But they will definitely be looking at those from other people. Whether it's a supervisor or a
recommendation.
yeah, make sure your recommendations are on, because you want to get those. Yeah. So you can send those out and ask people to do those recommendations. Yeah. And obviously you can go and give people recommendations as well. But it definitely brings your viewing rates up by about 40 times, I think.
Wow.
And even with your, I think I said it before, professional photo, having a photo on there brings it up by about 20 times your viewing rates.
Cover photo.
Sorry.
Oh, with the blue funny background.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could change that.
Oh, you can have if you say
cover page.
Yeah, so you're on your Facebook, so you can put your logo on there or something rather like that, and then have your profile picture in the profile. So but make it consistent across all your platforms, profiles, social media profiles. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all right.